Portents of Fear is a horror fiction podcast which is intended for mature audiences. Discretion is advised. Welcome, Fearlings, to another weird and horrifying tale made just for you. I am your host, Michulhu, and I'll be your guide into the macabre and mysterious. Tonight's story explores a mad wizard's delusion in The Servant. Before we get started, take a moment to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single terrifying story. The room took hours to set up. The magic circle needed to be perfect. Candles representing the different gods of ancient Egypt had been created from beeswax and adorned with the proper magical symbols. He'd studied the text for a year and a half. It would work. It had to work. Malik left nothing to chance. With the last candle in place, he ran his bony hand over his smooth scalp, removing the excess sweat. If this worked, maybe the next spell would be to cure baldness, he mused. His nerves vibrated. For his own sanity, this had to succeed. Eugene's entire body hurt. Being lanky and required to sit on the floor, folded like a pretzel, was not comfortable. He checked all the symbols he'd been ordered to create. The chalk in his hand was now a nub. There had been a time when Malik wouldn't let him write any magical glyphs, but Eugene had proven himself a loyal, capable assistant. "Okay, sir, I've completed the final sigil. Want to review them?" he asked. "No need. I trust your work. You've memorized the chant, correct?" "Yes, sir. But before we begin, you need to eat. According to my phone, the food I ordered is just arriving. Gotta keep your strength up. I took the liberty of getting Chinese." Eugene unfolded himself into a standing position. His bones popped and cracked. Malik watched. His mind noted Eugene's perfect mane of black wavy hair and his flat stomach. Malik was never attractive, but he wouldn't mind being thin and having hair again. "That's why we're a great team, Eugene. You anticipate what I need before I know I need it." The doorbell rang. The fresh air tumbled through the open windows. After breathing burning incense for hours, Eugene was thankful for it. The kitchen island held plenty of Wok's Delight food containers. The two dug into fried rice, orange chicken, and egg rolls. Several minutes passed in silence as they savored their meal. Finally, Malik took a breath to speak. "It's going to work this time." "I have faith it will, but if not, we'll try again," Eugene replied. He didn't really believe in magic, but it paid the bills. "Sir, I need to ask a favor. Next week is my daughter's school play. I was hoping I'd be able to take that night off. It's on Thursday." Malik looked hard at his assistant, as if he'd just asked for a year off with pay. "You get Saturdays off, isn't that enough?" "Usually, sir, yes, but this is a special event." "Fine, you can have the night off. Now, let's make history. Grab the chicken hots from the fridge." His assistant smiled, retrieved the container, and followed Malik up the stairs. Eugene carefully placed the hearts at the center of the arcane circle as Malik made complicated gestures while reciting the spell. Soon both men began chanting ancient words of power. Stale air and the smell of burning incense clung to their nostrils. The chant went on until Malik sat, defeated again, covered in streams of sweat. "I don't understand. I did everything I was supposed to. After all this time, you would think we'd be able to cast something." "I'm sure you will, sir," Eugene stated, hoping to raise his boss's spirits. He helped the older man up off the floor. "I wish I had your faith. Over time, it's gotten harder to believe in a power beyond the mundane. Some say the age of magic is gone forever." "Maybe they're right." "I can't answer that, sir, but I'm willing to keep trying with you. And that's what makes you a great assistant, Eugene, loyalty." "I'll be in my study. Please clean this up, then you're free to go." "Yes, sir." Malik's wine danced on his tongue before sliding down his throat. His eyes felt heavy, stumbling over the ancient Coptic text. He'd convinced himself that the Latin translation was missing something. It was the only reason the spell didn't work, he reassured himself. Something had to be missing, unless... His stomach twisted with anxiety. What if magic wasn't real? He willed the question away. If it wasn't, he'd wasted his whole life in its pursuit, something he couldn't face. "My apologies, sir, but you should turn on the news," Eugene suggested. How long he'd been standing at the door was anyone's guess. Malik removed his glasses, rubbing the tension from the bridge of his nose, and proceeded to click on the TV. The screen flickered to life and showed a chaotic scene in Beverly Hills. It was a live feed of a mansion surrounded by police, the ATF, and the FBI. SWAT had begun to stream into the back of the building. "Why do I care about this, Eugene?" "Sir, that's Tom Gates' house." "Interesting. They're finally going to arrest him. Good. It seems so, sir. I felt it might cheer you up. It will. Malik's face glowed with anticipation. Suddenly, bolts of energy and chunks of SWAT team members came flying out of the second-story windows. The officers hit the deck while their squad cars took the brunt of the attack. The houses behind them erupted in flame. Several officers lay dead while others screamed for help. Holy hell! Was that actual magic? Malik asked as he got closer to the jumbo screen. A huge cage made of muscles and organs appeared along with Tom on the front lawn. He looked very different, but it was Tom Gates all right. Without warning, the mansion imploded, literally folding in on itself. At the very end, there was a flash, and Tom was gone. Malik had no clue how to process what he'd seen. He slowly turned back to face Eugene. We've just witnessed a massive magical event on live television. How did a charlatan like Tom Gates get such power? Malik wondered out loud. Not sure, sir. The magic was earth-shattering, but the carnage is what stuck with Eugene. Call Allison and the others. Tell them to get here now. We have things to discuss. I'll need you to stay in case we need anything. Of course, sir. Eugene made the calls and retreated to the kitchen. Malik and his colleagues would be in the study debating what happened for hours. He'd have to wait till he was told he could leave. Part of the job, he reminded himself. His phone vibrated with Jody's name on the caller ID. He sighed. Hey, baby, how are you? Okay. Molly wants to say goodnight. Hi, Daddy. Hey, honey pop. My play went well. Wait, I thought that was next Thursday. No, it was tonight. Oh, baby, I'm so sorry. I thought it was next week. It's okay, Daddy. I love you. I love you too. She handed the phone back to her mom. His heart plummeted into guilt. Okay, I'm back. Any idea when you'll get home? Something's come up. Why didn't you remind me about her play, Eugene said. I did. 4 times. Check your messages once in a while. Working for that jerk is causing you to miss everything. That jerk pays well enough for us to have a house and for you to stay home. Plus, with our savings, I'll be able to retire early. That's great. Maybe you can buy a time travel machine to watch your daughter's first school play. Low blow, Jody. I'm sorry, all right? It was a miscommunication. I feel bad enough without you making it worse. It was not a miscommunication. You keep putting your work in front of your family. Right now, she'll forgive you, but that won't last. What do you want me to say? I don't want you to say anything. I want you to quit. I can't do that. Yes, you can, baby. Please. Go back to school. Finish your mathematics degree. There are well-paying jobs out there for big-brain nerds like you. Anything but this. Go back to school? Are you nuts? We'd lose everything and have to downsize. You want to live in an apartment, work a full-time job, and send Molly to a public school, he asked. Yes, if it means we see you more often. Honey, we can make it work without Malik. You're needed here. I can't. He hung up. Jody stared at the phone. He'd never hung up on her before. She turned on a documentary about a silent film era sex cult and started to cry. The next morning, after dropping Molly off at school, she returned home to find Eugene asleep in their bed. She'd thought about waking him, but instead went out to the front porch. Across the street, Ben mowed his lawn shirtless. He was 20, in perfect shape, and as dumb as a box of rocks. He'd be brutal towards her, unhinged in his lustful groping. He'd toss her around like a rag doll. God, what she wouldn't give to be so lucky. Enjoying the view? Eugene asked from behind her. She didn't flinch. Yes. You know he's way too young for you, Eugene commented. A girl can dream. Why'd you hang up on me last night? I didn't know what to say. I'm sorry. Come on, we can't keep having this argument. You know I love you both so much, but I also need this job. I don't want to fight either, but something has to change or I'm leaving. What? Why would you even say something like that? She turned to look at him. Because we need to be part of your life. Molly deserves a dad and I deserve a husband. And what, you think Ben Dafton over there is going to give you that? Of course not. She pushed past him back into the house. Eugene followed. Then why are you out here watching him like he's prey? Because you haven't touched me in a month. Because I want a second kid before I'm too old to have one. Because I'm angry at you right now and the freshly cut grass is greener on the other side, she snapped. The bathroom door slammed shut and the water turned on. I'm sorry, sweetie. Please. Truce, okay? Please. Leave me alone, Eugene. I need time to think. I have to go back to work in like 3 hours. Can't we have a calm conversation? Leave me alone, Jody warned. Damn it, he thought. He'd never considered he'd lose her or his daughter. She was right, though. He had been neglectful. For years, he'd been putting in 80-hour weeks with little time for her. He started to search on the internet about college, mathematics, pricing, seeing what his options were. Finally, she emerged from the bathroom wrapped in a towel. Can we talk? He asked. No, I thought you'd be gone. I'm still angry, she snapped. Please, just listen. I've done some research, and I think I can get into UCLA and finish my master's. It's not the cheapest, but it would allow me to network, maybe get a job as an economist or whatever. I'll have to talk to a career counselor. It would take a couple of years, but I have the credits to get it done. Jody smiled, her eyes shined with happiness. Really? Really. I can start in fall. I've already created an account. She hugged him tightly. Thank you. I can't tell you what this means to me. I'm sorry I've neglected you and Molly. He kissed her. I love you, Eugene, so much. Come help me get dressed. She took his hand. Malik stacked several old volumes of occult lore on his desk. He hadn't slept in 24 hours. The implication of what Tom Gates achieved haunted him. He searched for words of power, places of magic, and true names of demons. I'm just a wannabe wizard. Tom Gates, a man who lies to idiots and takes their money, is more of a wizard than I. Why? What is the secret? What if I have the wrong books? The front door opened, and he could hear Eugene slinking in. You're late, he yelled down the hall. Sorry, sir, but I had to get some things done. I think I pay you enough to show up on time. Yes, you pay me well, but I needed to see my family. I don't want Molly to forget me. Who's Molly? My daughter? We talked about her and the play I needed to go to yesterday. Oh, right. I'd forgotten. But the point still stands, Eugene. I pay you to be here when I say to be here. Eugene noticed a funk and wondered when the last time Malik showered was. He tried not to breathe. Yes, sir, you do. And I appreciate it. But we need to talk. I've decided to go back to school this fall. I'm going to be leaving at the end of the month. What? You can't quit. I need you here. Sir, it wasn't an easy decision, but it's the right one for my family. The hours I'm required to be here are not conducive to a healthy work-life balance. I'm sorry. What the hell is a work-life balance? I can't believe this. I train you to be the perfect assistant, and now you're going to leave? No thought as to what it will mean for myself or my research? I rely on you, and you stab me in the back. I'm not stabbing you in the back, sir. I understand you hate change, but I need to do this. You can hire someone new, and I'll train them. In a month? I think not. It took me years to teach you. The books, the spell ingredients, the code to the alarm. You know where everything is. No, you are forbidden to quit. Go wait for me to call you. I have research to do. Eugene walked to the door. I was hoping for a more professional response. Since this is an at-will state, you can send me my final check. I quit. Goodbye, sir. Eugene walked out. You can't just leave. Come back here. The house rumbled as the front door slammed. Morning sun streamed through the windows of the corner cafe. Eugene stole a sip of Jody's latte as she enjoyed a bite of blueberry muffin. He made a face. Pumpkin spice, really? What? I'm basic and proud of it, Jody replied. Do people still say basic? I do, which in turn makes me even more basic. I concur, he smiled at her. Just let me enjoy my coffee while I still can. Why would you ever stop drinking coffee? Jody stared at him, willing the answer into his oblivious brain. Wait, you're pregnant already? Oh my God, honey, that's amazing. He leaned over and kissed her. Then the full weight of it hit. Wow, I know we've planned this all out, but now that it's real, don't start worrying on me. We're fine. Your sister will be helping as well as my mom. You only have 8 months till graduation. We're all set. You'll be in your new job before the kid even gets here. I can't wait to meet them. New job. That's a weird thought too. Less work, decent pay. But I do wonder how Malik is doing. Who cares? He was nuts. I know, but I worked with him for so long and nothing. The future, Eugene. It's bright and it's waiting for us. Malik is the past. She kissed his cheek. You're right. But it's time to get to school and you need to get to work, Eugene reminded her. They hugged. I'll see you tonight, she said. Nothingness gave way to a bright light. Eugene found himself strapped to a table naked. He recognized the ceiling. He was in Malik's magic room. There was a rancid stench that made his eyes water. "Waking up, I see." A shadow fell over his eyes like a specter of doom. "What do you think you're doing? Let me up!" "I invested 15 years into you." "Guess what? Go on, guess," Malik said. He looked crazed, greasy, and a bit off balance with the sizable weight he now carried. His breath smelled of hot garlic and tooth decay. "I'm not playing games, Malik. Let me off this goddamn table." "No. I gave you a chance to do the right thing. I went to your funeral. There was no body, of course. You would have liked it. People were crying and telling funny Eugene stories. It was great. Your wife was a bit rude to me, but she suspected I kidnapped you. I understood." Malik's mouth twisted into an unhinged grin. "You did kidnap me. How long have I been here?" 7 years. Had to wait till your case went cold. I kept you in a magically induced coma downstairs. I just waited them out. In all that time, you could have trained a new person, you idiot! Let me off this table." Malik picked up a scalpel and a large metal tube. "Wait, Malik, this isn't right. Stop!" "I'm not an idiot, Eugene. You betrayed me. I never agreed to you leaving, and yet you just walked out on me. You're a servant, my servant, and you're going to be with me for the rest of eternity. Please, listen to me. You can't do this. You said I've been here 7 years? That means I've got a kid I've never met in 2nd grade, and Molly is 13. I've got to get back to my family, Malik. You have to let me go." My family. That's all you can think about? Still worried about them? Don't be. I made sure they'll be taken care of for the rest of their lives. You're my servant. You owe me, and that's that. Did you know that powerful pharaohs actually had undead servants? Mummies who would protect tombs, sure, but they would also protect the living kings, doing everything they were commanded to do. These servants were passed between generations. I'm going to transform you into the perfect assistant. Please stop! I'll come back to work for you. I'll do anything you want, just don't do this, Eugene begged. I have waited to do this for a long time. I'm hoping it works. Unfortunately, you'll need to be awake for the transformation to take hold. From what I've read, it will be extremely painful. Think of it as penance. All right, here we go. Malik put on his headphones to drown out the screaming. It sort of worked. The blade sliced into Eugene's carotid artery, and a tube was quickly inserted in order to drain the body of blood. The pain burned as he struggled against his bindings. Okay, it will take a couple of hours to get you completely drained. All that fight you have in you will be gone soon. Malik was right. Before long, Eugene was completely helpless. The wizard returned. Oh, you stopped screaming. Great. Now I'm going to remove the right side of your brain. No more. Please, Eugene's voice cracked. Malik beamed with schadenfreude. The sound of the bone saw screeched, biting into Eugene's skull just deep enough to miss the brain. After the top came off, Malik took a long knife and slid it straight down the middle of Eugene's brain, detaching the right side and placing it into one of the biohazard buckets at his feet. He retrieved dry lichen from a bag nearby and filled the open space, causing a horrible pain to shoot into the left side of Eugene's brain. I can imagine that hurt a lot, but it's all for a good cause, my friend. After closing up the skull, Malik cut a Y shape on the torso so he could remove all of Eugene's organs save for the heart. Eugene felt every single cut and hellish pull, but he could no longer speak. He was losing himself in the nightmare. We're almost at the finish line. Malik recited words of power, causing the heart to jerk to life. It beat with a slow, eldritch rhythm. The dark magic flowed through the room. Tom Gates had done one good thing, he thought. He had reawakened magic in the modern age. The hard part is done. I can remove these restraints. Be ready. It's your chance to run. I'm kidding. Let's get this done. Sawdust and cedar chips poured into the chest cavity to give it shape again. The undead heart thudded against the filling. A thin layer of pitch was poured on top, and the skin was replaced. Stitching the flaps together took a great deal longer than Malik had anticipated. Sorry about this. My sewing skills seem to be lacking. It will be covered by linen, so no harm, no foul. You can't be a proper mummy without proper linen wrapping. Eugene, I have to say, it's great having you back. It really is. We're going to accomplish so much. Wrapping a body by himself was no easy task, but after some initial struggle, he got it done. I can't wait to show you this. Malik produced an amulet in the shape of a ruby Ouroboros, with a gold and turquoise scarab at the center hanging from a golden chain. It took me 2 years just to find this. Well, really, I stole it. This amulet is the final piece to the puzzle of creating an immortal servant. There are only 3 known in existence. You should feel very honored. He placed the ornate chain around his victim's neck. The transformation was by far the most painful thing Eugene had ever been through. Every cell forcefully changed all at once with necrotic energy. His skin tightened, aging into thin leather. His eyes rotted away, leaving black sockets peeking through bandages. His bones creaked and groaned, but he never lost consciousness. That horrid heart, covered in sawdust and cedar chips, kept beating. The newly created abomination rose from the table and bowed its head to its master. The dark wizard grinned with contentment. He'd finally conquered the arcane forces that had eluded him for so long. A lifetime spent studying the secrets of the ages paid off. He now had proof of his power. Eugene was a shadow of his former self, a spirit locked away in an undead husk with no free will. There was a great feeling of loss, but he didn't know why. Something had faded from his memory, something important. His master's words drowned out all other thoughts. Now, clean up this mess and I'll get dinner ready. I'll be in my study watching television. Eugene nodded again to his master and began to work. The night air was humid. Jody looked at the old mansion with contempt. All the other buildings were well taken care of. Fresh coats of paint, well-manicured lawns. She knew Malik had money. Why not spend some on his house? It had been 7 years since Eugene went missing. Everyone told her it was time to move on. She pushed the cops to keep the case open, but after a while, no one would take her calls. He'd vanished, and there was nothing more to be said on the matter. We're very sorry for your loss. We did all we could. She knew Malik was at the center of it all. The creepy weirdo with more money than God. They didn't have enough for a search warrant. They interrogated him and got nothing. He never asked for a lawyer. He just played dumb, and they bought it. She knew her husband was in that house, and more than likely dead, but she had to prove it. He was the only one it could be. There was footage from security cameras of Eugene driving out of the parking lot, but he never made it to the next camera a block away. She argued that it had to be like the disappearing house in Beverly Hills, but no one listened. They buried that footage too. Good luck finding a video of the incredible imploding mansion. The creep showed up at the funeral. Jody still held out hope Eugene would return, but others wanted to declare him dead and move on. It had been 7 years with no new leads. Malik talked about how much he'd loved Eugene. He even hoped that one day his old friend would return, almost like a confession, like he knew where he was and wanted to seem sympathetic. Jody got tired of it and told him off. They all looked at her horrified. It was an ugly scene. He just shined her on. He said, "I understand this is grief. I forgive you," and walked off. She wanted to kill him. But even after what she said, he started sending money every month, said it was Eugene's pension. It felt more like guilt. One day she did the math. Malik was paying her as if Eugene was working 24 hours a day, overtime and everything. He even provided health insurance. Her friends said it was kindness, but something was wrong. She hired a private investigator to look into Malik. He dug up all the background information he could, but there wasn't a lot. Born in New York, moved to America at 10 with his recently divorced mother, Harvard educated in economics, a fascination with the occult, no real friends. She knew magic was real even if no one wanted to admit it. The occult thing stuck with her. She left the car, climbed the steps, and pressed the buzzer. A camera trained on her. Not some cheap Ring camera. This was high-tech stuff. No one answered. She knew he was home. All his food was delivered, and she knew he never left the house. She rang it again, this time leaning on it for a good 30 seconds. The door opened slowly to reveal a robed man with a cowl over his head. His hands and feet were covered in blood-encrusted bandages, and he had an amulet studded with jewels, some sort of Egyptian motif. She only glanced. His face was obscured by a mesh veil. She faltered for a moment. The sadness, fear, and anger of this person was palpable. I'm here to speak with Malik, please." The figure stood, granite-like. "I said I need to speak with Malik. Now, please." It looked up at her. She couldn't make out any features. Malik suddenly appeared at the door as well. "Oh, Jody, it's so good to see you." He waved off the servant like a mosquito. "I was hoping we could catch up, Malik. You've been so nice, and I was so terrible to you." Can we sit down and talk? Malik wasn't sure what to say, but he could tell from the look in her eyes that no was not going to be accepted. Yes, come in. It's been a long time, but that's water under the bridge. As they went into the study, he ordered Eugene to get tea for them both. The mummy nodded and went to carry out its orders. Please sit down. What can I do for you? Malik asked as the two sat across from each other. Jody pulled a pistol from her bag and pointed it at him. You're going to tell me where my husband is, or I'm going to shoot you. Malik put up his hands. Dear, if I knew, you'd know. A bullet flew right by his left hand and lodged into the wall behind him. I know you did something. You were so angry when he left. He showed me the texts, Malik. Now either tell me or the next one is going into your chest, you freak. I didn't do anything to Eugene. As for the texts, yes, I was upset. I felt betrayed, really, but I got over it. He was kidnapped, a year after he left my employ? I hadn't spoken to him in 10 months at that point. I was just as shocked and bewildered as you. Right then, the mummy entered the room with a silver tray loaded with tea and cookies. It placed the food down on the table and took its spot next to its master's chair. She cocked the gun. Sweat began to bead on Malik's forehead. Okay, fine. Eugene, take off your cowl. Eugene freed the Velcro strips holding the mesh covering in place and pulled the hood away, revealing his mummified features. Jody couldn't move, horror-struck by the sight. Malik moved quickly, trying to grab the gun. She screamed, and the two wrestled for it. Help me, Eugene! Stop him! Somewhere deep inside the mummy's strangely beating heart was Eugene's soul. He heard his wife, and against millennia-old magic took back control of his body. He lunged forward, grabbing Malik, throwing him back into his chair. What do you think you're... Eugene grabbed him by the neck and choked off his windpipe before he could finish the sentence. Malik sputtered and gurgled like a garbage disposal. He quickly turned bright red. His arms flew in every direction, but it was no use. Eugene's black hole stare bore into him. For the first time since he'd been turned, he spoke in a graveyard tone. Die. And in the next moment, that is exactly what the old wizard did. His lifeless body twitched, his face contorted into a death mask of tortured horror. Oh God, Eugene, what did he do to you? Eugene turned to her and fell to his knees. She ran her fingers over his face. It was her husband, but his skin was closer to stretched leather than normal skin, his eyes black pits. She couldn't hold back the tears. He took her hand and placed it on the amulet around his neck. She realized within an instant what he meant. She looked at the amulet in her hand and then back at his leathery features. I love you. I love you too. She gently lifted the chain up over his head as tears rained down onto his upturned face. Eugene let out a sigh and toppled over. He was truly dead at last. I've heard about bad bosses, but wow, what a tool. Would you like to be able to cast spells? Be sure to tell us in the comments. If you like this Portents of Fear tale, consider joining our Patreon. There's a link in the description below. Want more horrific stories? Click on one of our other episodes on your screen now. Good night, Fearlings. Sleep well, if you can.